and I just get like an idea, and then it just goes like it explodes everywhere. I am a TPT seller, which means I do love cute and pretty things, but cute and pretty things are not always functional, and you guys know this. It's not really a candy corn though. It's I don't know what it is, but it's going to be really fun, and I'm so excited to use it. So today, as I got home from church and I was getting ready to take my afternoon nap, I saw that I had a text message for a Seesaw alert that my son's kindergarten teacher had sent out. And the alert was asking for parents to volunteer to bring a few special apple-themed treats for some activities they're going to do. And if you have been in the teaching or speech therapy world for any length of time, you've probably figured out that September is Apple Month. And y'all, I love a good theme, and I love Apple Month. And I actually was kind of surprised that I had totally felt like I had dropped the ball on planning Apple-themed activities for my students. So her message on Seesaw was a reminder to me that I needed to get my tushy in gear and create some fun Apple-themed activities for my speech therapy students this month. So I was so excited. I went to Target to get the stuff for my son's class, and I picked up some stuff for my students. And so today I'm going to show you how to do some really simple but really fun activities for an apple-themed month, if you love doing a theme too, using some apple cinnamon Cheerios. Of course, just some regular old apples, apple chips, and I found these and I couldn't resist. Caramel apple. It's kind of like a candy corn. It's not really a candy corn though. It's I don't know what it is, but it's going to be really fun, and I'm so excited to use it. So I'm going to show you activities that you can use for AAC, language, and articulation. So are you ready to see how I'm going to use these ideas in my speech room this month? Yeah, it's going to be fun. Let's go. Okay, so before I show you how I'm going to use these deliciously fun food items in my speech room, I'm going to tell you how I'm going to introduce it. And I always love introducing Apple Theme Month with the book, Amelia Bedelia's First Apple Pie. I'm going to link it in the description. I don't have a copy because my copy is at school and I am at home. Again, so excited to film this for you tonight. I was like, well, they'll understand. Like, they're all teachers. They know that half of their belongings are at school anyways. So I always introduce it with that book. And here is why. First of all, it's great for language concepts. It has not a million, but a bunch of idioms in it, which I love teaching for my friends working on that particular skill. So idioms and WH questions, all the great things you can do in a book, in this book. Amelia Bedelia's First Apple Pie. But there is a whole page. Amelia Bedelia goes to the farmer's market with her grandfather, and they find a whole bunch of different kinds of apples. And so on this page, it talks about all these different kinds of apples, that there are Granny Smith apples, there are red delicious apples, there are pink lady apples, there are golden delicious apples. And I use this to introduce my apple tasting. I have to do it every year. I love doing an apple tasting. And so all of these pictures of these apples and Amelia Bedelia, like imagining all these like crazy things about them, is the perfect way to just introduce your apple theme. So before you do any of these other activities, go buy that book if you don't own it, Amelia Bedelia's First Apple Pie. The link's in the description for you, to start off your apple theme on the right foot. Okay, so let's start with AAC. There is an activity that you can do with your AAC students. I'm going to give you the example of a student using a scoreboard. This can be used as low-tech or as high-tech as you need it to go. What I'm going to do is we're going to do an apple tasting. That's going to be the first thing. I actually have 2 sessions worth of activities using these things I showed you. So we're going to do an apple tasting by color. So I'm going to cut up my apples, about like this. And I'm going to put them in different bowls where the student can see. I've cut up a Granny Smith to show you. And I'm going to let the student use their board or their, system, whatever they're using, to select I want, and then they're going to pick one of those 3 or 4 apple choices that I have, and I'm going to let them try it. Of course, obviously make sure eating apples is safe for your student, but that is what we're going to do. So we're going to practice requesting for food, stringing together I want, and then making a choice between different kinds of apples. So we'll read the book or a quick version of the book, and then we will do the apple tasting on day 1. So first activity for AAC is just a regular old apple tasting, and then the student gets to pick at the end which one that they like. So we will be working on the core words like, want, I, and then choosing a selection. So that's the first activity. The second activity is really just like it, but we're going to do, instead of just apples, we're going to do our fun treats. So we will do our Cheerios. Let the student pick. Do you want Cheerios or apple chips? Do you want candy or Cheerios? So we're choosing between 2 items. So that's your AAC apple themed activity. Okay, let's talk about a language activity. Now, you guys know I am a TPT seller, which means I do love cute and pretty things, but cute and pretty things are not always functional, and you guys know this. Sometimes it is just easiest to go to the internet, get some pictures off the internet, and stick them on a piece of paper, and it looks like this. And that's okay, because that's what this activity is going to be. So, this is for working on syntax. Specifically, I am working on using the linking verbs is and are. I am also working on using that like possessive has, have, had. So that's what I'm going to be targeting with these. The first activity, so remember, Amelia Bedelia's Apple Pie is our introduction book for everybody this week. And then we're going to do the apple tasting. Now, after we read the book, we're going to describe the apples. So we talk about how when something belongs to an object or a person, we use the word has. So we're going to say, this apple has red skin. This apple has a stem. This apple has seeds inside. And we're going to describe all of the apples. And so we will describe the way they look, the way they feel, the way they taste, and we're really going to be focusing on that has. This apple has this. Or alternatively, we also will be doing this apple is green. We could do this apple is sour. This apple is sweet. And so that's how we're going to be working on some describing skills, some grammar skills, and some just sentence building skills to go along with that. So that is the first thing. Now, this lovely activity that I showed you, this little cheapy, I just took pictures off of the internet. I Googled girl, boy, friends. And I'm going to put each of these little treats on the pictures. So I will show you that and show you kind of what I mean, okay? Okay, so for this activity, I am going to put one of our treats on each of the different pictures. And again, we're working on has, have for my example that I'm giving you. So the person, the child would say, the boy has the apple chip. The children have the candy. The girl has the apple. So that's how we're going to practice making those sentences. She can go, or the student can go and do each practice, and then eat the thing. Again, one day just with the different kinds of apples. She has the green apple. He has a red apple. They have a yellow apple. And then the next day we could do it again to kind of target the same skill, but this time we do the candy, the chips, and the Cheerios. So it just mixes it up. I find that kids love food. They find it is so much fun, and they will give you so many more trials and repetitions just because they just think it's really great. Okay, friends, that was language. Let's talk about articulation now. So I will tell you that articulation was kind of what inspired all of these activities, and I just get like an idea and then it just goes, like it explodes everywhere. So the first articulation thing we're doing is going to be an example for multisyllabic words. It occurred to me that all of these apple names have multisyllabic words. There's so many. So again, first, we're reading Amelia Bedelia's Apple Pie, first apple pie as our intro, to talk about the different kinds of apples and all of that great stuff. And then we're gonna practice the names. So we have Granny Smith, Red Delicious, Golden Delicious, woo, Pink Lady. So I'm gonna let my students try these apples. As we try them, again, I'm gonna cut them into little pieces like this so that we can get multiple repetitions. But we can practice those different kinds of multisyllabic apple words and do that. So that is the first activity with the multisyllabic words. Now, if you have a student who is beyond multisyllabic words, I do have an activity I'm going to show you for a more traditional articulation approach. But I also want to say, so day 1, we can do this tasting, and then day 2, we're going to go back with these apple chips. Cinnamon apple Cheerios, if we wanted to, 8 syllables, woo! Or caramel apple candy. So just working on some simple requesting. Obviously, we're not going to go crazy with this one, but you can get a lot of repetitions with Cheerios if you really want to. So all of those are multisyllabic words as well. So we can turn those into all different kinds of games, or we can just practice requesting for them after we read our Amelia Bedelia book. The book is pretty lengthy, so it'll take most of your time if you are a little bit concerned about using too much food stuff during therapy. But I mean, come on, apples are so fun. Okay, so now I'm going to show you an activity for a more traditional, older articulation student. Okay, I'm going to show you this closer in just a second, but I just want to say again, all I did to make this page was I made a grid in PowerPoint. I printed off the words I want my student to practice, and that's all this is. I didn't spend any money on this. It took me like a minute to do it. So it does not have to be cute to be functional, but it can still be really fun. Okay, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of our apple treats onto each of these squares. So obviously you could just do this with apples or Cheerios, but I mean, if I got all this other stuff, I just thought it would be really fun to do. So you can see I'm going to be working on vocalic air words if you didn't pick up on that pattern. All the student is going to do is they're going to take one of my little treats off of the thing, say their word maybe 5 times, they can have their little treat, and then we'll do another one. If you're concerned about it being too junky, obviously you can do more Cheerios, you can just do the apples. You could even do the apples one day, like, we did all those different colors. So you could do one day where you do this activity with the apples, and then the next day you do it with Cheerios and apple chips and candy, whatever you want to do. There are 25 words on this page. So if we did each one, even just 4 times, that's 100 trials for your session. If we did each one 5 times, that's more than 100. So that is this articulation activity, this kind of a more traditional S kid kind of approach. Okay, so as you can tell, we are going to be having a lot of fun in my speech room over the next couple of weeks. I have linked these things in the description if you just want to grab them on Amazon really fast. But I love a good apple theme. I hope you love a good apple theme. I hope this has triggered some really great fun ideas for you and your caseload and all of their specific needs. And if you love these kind of videos and love just seeing what other people are doing in their speech room that's fun and fresh, leave me a comment. I would love to see and hear what you're doing as well. So I hope y'all had fun watching this with me. I'm really excited to go do all these things with my students, and I had a lot of fun sharing them with you too. So I will talk to you guys later, and I hope you enjoyed this fun Apple-themed speech therapy edition YouTube video.